Greetings, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about inclusion. Maishu, arigatou gozaimasu, and welcome back to the 10th year of the Leadership Japan series. And I'm your host in Tokyo, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery. My new book, Stop Wasting Money on Training in Japanese, Training de Okane o Mura ni suru no wa yamimashou, and all of my books are available on Amazon. This podcast brings insights, examples, and experience about leading in Japan. Trust me, it is different here. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We are not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn. Unlike many other hosting organizations, Libsyn have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on Apple Podcasts. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast. Tuesday, the Presentation Japan series, and every second Tuesday, the Business Tatsujin no Oishia show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series, and every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcasto show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast. Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Before we get going, today's handy Japanese phrase is giri giri maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. Got there just in the nick of time. I just made it. Giri giri ni. Giri giri maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. Just got there in the nick of time. Maybe you're running for the train. Giri giri mi maneatta. Giri giri ni maneatta. Giri giri maneatta. This is episode number 513. Today we're talking about getting inclusion in Japan. Diversity, equity, and inclusion has become an important topic in Japan, and the trigger to getting to diversity is getting inclusion. When people feel included in the team, they are more motivated, hardworking, and committed to the firm. Retention is a nightmare problem which will unfold slowly and terrifyingly for all firms over the next few years. Getting people to join is one problem in a declining population reality, and keeping the ones you manage to hire will be the bigger problem. Training them to see them walk out the door to the competitor is a very painful prospect to entertain, and no one wants to see that unfold. This is where the inclusion part helps us to keep our people with us and not have them stray. One of the ways to improve the inclusion culture inside the organization is to find the glue to meld everyone together as a team. We want people to be able to contribute, and that means we'll have to deal with having different opinions and personality styles scattered amongst the team. We can start by having the team members take a cold, hard look at themselves. How open are they to hearing different views on subjects? There are 3 options when having debates about what is the best for the firm. Some people are very self-assured, confident, quick, and can be aggressive in driving their opinion and having everyone else adopt what they think. Others avoid any type of conflict and so become passive, just keeping their head down and going with the flow. They keep their ideas from the group and don't contribute to the search for the best solution. Often, these people are also deep thinkers, and they take more time to process their thoughts because they're going many layers deeper than others. They can be run over by the more aggressive team members and are left out of the discussion entirely, so the organization fails to get the benefit of their insight and experience. The third group are assertive and able to argue their case, but with tact and diplomacy. Being assertive allows contribution, but doesn't deny others the right to argue their ideas. This approach assists with gaining more internal inclusivity. Understanding where you sit on this continuum is useful to help access the greatest range of possible solutions for problems facing the team. The aggressive can be encouraged to think more about how to move to an assertive position because it is less abrasive and less likely to be rejected. The passive group, now that their degree of self-awareness has been heightened, can be supported to voice their opinions without fear of being steamrolled, critiqued, or embarrassed. The requirement here is to build a psychologically safe, inclusive work environment for all of the team members. Find out more when we come back from the break. Today's show is brought to you by our public courses, but we also are doing custom in-house programs. We do these in both Japanese and English. We do them face-to-face in our super safe classroom, and we do them live online. The show today is brought to you by, on the 18th of May, our Leadership Training for Managers program. Excellent program. This is for people who've become managers but never learned to lead. It's everything in a box for a leader. Everything they need to know is in this program. Send them along. They'll go from managers to leaders, which is actually what we all want. On the 9th of June, we'll be doing our Winning with Relationship Selling. This is the entire sales cycle. Build the trust, understand the client needs, present the solution in a way that they're going to buy it, deal with any pushback, ask for the order, do the follow-up. Excellent program. Also on the 9th of June, we're doing our Dale Carnegie course. This is how you get mindset shift, dealing with stress, people skills, communication skills, and leadership skills in one program. Excellent course. Go to our website at www.dale, D-A-L-E, Carnegie, CARNEGIE.co.jp. Get my best-selling books, Japan Sales Mastery, which in Japanese is Zaegyo. This is the Bible for selling in Japan. Japan Business Mastery, Japan Presentations Mastery, plus Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni Sunu wa Yamimashou, and all are available on Amazon. If you like learning by watching videos, we have nearly 2,000 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 TV shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's the premier business show on Japan every Monday, Tokyo time. Fridays, we have the Japan Business Mastery Show, and on Saturdays, we release Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders from small and medium enterprises all the way up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. You can email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Welcome back. In most cases, when we have a debate and we state our position, we usually do this as a reflex action rather than one requiring a lot of introspection. This tends to see us engaging our mouth before we engage our brain. Sometimes what comes out of our mouth may have not been the best option. Rather, a good practice is to think before we speak and ask ourselves first, what do I think? Why do I think that? And what has brought me to this belief? What have I read, seen, experienced to get me to this position? That short piece of self-reflection goes a long way to changing the way we communicate what we think. Just blurting out our opinion is just a statement without any supporting evidence to back it up. Let's change our style and instead start by conveying some context around why we think what we think, rather than just telling people what we think. the listener now has a lot more to consider rather than just rejecting the simple punchline. If both sides are doing this, then the discussion is much richer, and the chances of one side converting the other goes up dramatically, as opposed to getting bogged down in a bun fight over differing views. When we get more information, we are allowed to change our views on the subject at hand. We also discover we share a lot of common ground too, where we are in agreement, and this takes a lot of the heat out of the disagreement. Another useful exercise is to proactively identify our hot-button words. These are words which, when we hear them, we typically go straight to an emotional response, and we bypass the brain completely. Being told no to something we want or you're wrong are very common examples. We tune out the explanation of the why behind the no or you are wrong because we are super busy working on our response, which contains the 1,000 golden reasons why the answer should be a yes or why we are right. When we take the time to isolate out which words we react to the most strongly, we're on the first step to controlling our responses and building an inclusive culture. By doing this exercise first, when we hear the hot button word, we can elegantly move from ear to brain to mouth, and in the process deal with the source of irritation much more diplomatically. We may choose to delay our response to help us cool down, or we may ask for more information to better understand why they are saying it this way. We might seek other opinions before we respond to get some impartial advice. We might decide to just ignore it and accept that not everyone is smart or a competent communicator or necessarily sufficiently self-aware in how they interact with others. In other words, we are not just reacting to the provocation and instead are picking our battles to fight. We might come to agree with their idea because we gain some insight from the why part of the discussion, which we were not previously aware of. We can maintain the inclusivity of the group even when there are some people who can be seriously annoying. Being inclusive helps us to accept that not everyone is the same, or that we will always be in agreement with each other. We can agree to disagree without destroying the relationship and descending into some old-fashioned, internecine trench warfare between the silos in the organization, as often happens in the corporate world. By becoming more self-aware, we can become more accepting and more inclusive because we're engaging the brain first rather than getting run over by our emotions. By becoming more inclusive, we can create more diversity in the firm. Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan series. If you found the program useful, then tell your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. You can contact me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. Our website is www.dale-carnegie.co.jp. Until the next episode, take what you thought valuable, put it into action, because idea application is what makes winners winners. So be one of them. Remember, I'm in your corner, committed to your success here in Nippon.